What's up everyone, and welcome back to the Bold and the Beautiful 24 official channel. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button today. Let's get started. Thomas seeks revenge for Taylor. Brooke could be gone from Ridge life forever. Thomas is ready to strike back for Taylor, and his shocking plan could end Brooke's place in Ridge's world once and for all. The Bold and the Beautiful tease that Brooke Logan could have a big problem on her hands when Thomas Forrester returns from Europe. He won't be happy to hear that his father, Ridge Forrester, left his mother, Taylor Hayes, for Brooke yet again, as everyone knows. Thomas appeared to be in good health when we last saw him on the show. He came to the realization that his relationship with Hope Logan was doomed when he finally fell in love with Paris Buckingham. He even had a decent conversation with Brooke. That could all change, especially given that we are aware that his relationship with Paris has ended and that he will return to his mother's broken heart. This could push Thomas to embrace his dark side and plot to get rid of Brooke for good. Thomas takes his mother's safety very seriously. One thing about Thomas is that he has a protective nature. He wouldn't hesitate to make a threat against his mother because of his deep concern for her. For the past few years, Thomas has only desired the reunion of his parents. Thomas may therefore snap now that that has occurred, and Brooke appears to be swiping Ridge back. The Bold and the Beautiful reveal that Thomas will confront Brooke and his father about betraying Taylor. He doesn't know how his father could say he would love his mother and then turn his back on her because of Brooke's accident. Brooke will attempt to defend herself by claiming that Taylor stole Ridge from him. Nothing can stop them from being destiny. Ridge might try to defuse the situation by telling Thomas he loves his mother and always will. But he wants to be with Brooke. In any case, Brooke will be Thomas's primary focus as he intervenes to defend his mother and safeguard his family. Is Brooke in jeopardy? Brooke could be in serious danger if Thomas truly embraces his darker side. Thomas despises Brooke for everything she has done to his family. Ever since he was a small child, Brooke has found ways to lure his dad away. He's had enough of it now, and he won't let Brooke get away with it. The Bold and the Beautiful reveal that Thomas believes that the only way to get Brooke out of their lives is to eliminate her for good. For Brooke, this doesn't sound very good. Keep watching the CBS soap to find out how it plays out. More twists and turns from Thomas and Grace. According to The Bold and the Beautiful, Thomas Forrester will return in September 2025. His return storyline has no hints, but could it be about Grace Buckingham? Maybe Paris Buckingham is the next target of Reese Buckingham's debtors. Keep reading and let's talk about the possibilities. The return of Thomas Forrester's fans will see Thomas return in September 2025. The specifics of his plot are still being kept under wraps. However, there are a few possibilities. It might just be to go to Taylor Hayes' wedding. However, there may be drama if Ridge Forrester keeps that promise to Brooke Logan. Thomas could also come back once he learns about Luna Nozawa being alive. The man may decide to return to Los Angeles to ensure Steffi Forrester Finnegan's safety or to deal with Luna personally. There is also Hope Logan's upcoming wedding to Carter Walton. The Paris adventure of Paris Buckingham. There is no indication as to whether Paris Buckingham and Thomas will return. It would make sense for them to both return given that they are getting married. Especially if it is for the wedding of Taylor and Ridge. Paris and Thomas's return has not been mentioned though. So, I wonder if that could be due to Grace's scheme. Bradley Bell's storyline statement. In an interview a few years ago, executive producer and head writer Bradley Bell mentioned that his father taught him that a good storyline should last at least 8 months. I have no recollection of the interviewer or even the year. However, I can recall disagreeing with that statement as well. Moving forward, it seems Grace was exposed rather quickly for a soap opera. Consequently, I believe there is still more to her story. Grace might be released from prison sooner rather than later with Bill Spencer around. Unexpected intertwining arcs. According to The Bold and the Beautiful spoilers, Grace and Thomas's stories could intertwine. When Bill was transferring the money, was Grace talking to Thomas on the phone? Thomas hasn't been seen in a long time. Grace did make a phone call to Paris, which we saw. On the other hand, it sounded like she was talking to her daughter rather than leaving a message. So, maybe Reese's debtors have already taken action? Could it be that they took Paris and Grace is unaware of it? Thomas Forrester's highly anticipated return to Los Angeles is set to reopen old wounds and dismantle fragile illusions. While Ridge Forrester may believe he has finally secured his future with Brooke Logan, the universe and Thomas himself might have different intentions. What starts as a son's justifiable defense of his heartbroken mother, Taylor Hayes, could transform into a revenge narrative so shocking and twisted that Brooke may find herself not only on the periphery of Ridge's life, but also facing the potential loss of everything she has ever schemed to retain, including her very existence. This is because Thomas has never forgiven Brooke for the years of torment she inflicted upon his family, the relentless cycle of affairs, betrayals, and manipulations that shattered Taylor's marriage and left Steffi and Thomas growing up in a reality where destiny was merely Brooke's justification for dismantling another family. Now, with Taylor once again abandoned as Ridge returns to the Logan mansion, Thomas is poised to emerge from his time in Europe, where he had fled with Paris Buckingham in search of a new beginning, only for that relationship to disintegrate under the burden of unresolved guilt, Hope Logan's rejection, and the gravitational pull of his family's fractured legacy. Thus, upon his return, he will not come back with a placid demeanor but rather with fire coursing through his veins and vengeance in his heart, resolute in reminding everyone, including Ridge, that Taylor Hayes is not to be treated as yesterday's news, and Brooke Logan is not beyond reach. Thomas has previously demonstrated his ability to manipulate, gaslight, and scheme at a level that even makes Bill Spencer raise an eyebrow. If Brooke believes that a few heartfelt conversations in the Forrester mansion and a champagne toast will suffice to safeguard her, she is sorely mistaken. Thomas is ready to engage in a long game, wielding every weapon at his disposal, whether that entails exposing Brooke's latest indiscretions or planting evidence. Enticing allies or merely exacerbating feelings of guilt, Ridge may start to doubt whether fate is merely a harmful illusion that has deprived him of years of joy with Taylor. The peril lies in the fact that when Thomas embraces his darker side, he becomes not only exceptionally clever but also unyielding. Brooke faces adversaries at every turn, all of whom would eagerly witness her downfall. Steffi, who still harbors resentment over her father's blind spot. Taylor, whose sorrow simmers just beneath her composed facade, and even Sheila Carter, who would relish the opportunity to take advantage of the turmoil to further infiltrate the Forrester circle. Thomas could very well position himself as the mastermind of a discreet yet devastating alliance against Brooke, orchestrating meetings, sowing seeds of doubt, and manipulating circumstances to ensure that Brooke find herself alone, mistrusted, and trapped. However, this situation extends beyond just Brooke and Ridge, as spoilers indicate that Thomas's return may coincide with Luna Nozawa's shocking comeback from the dead. If Thomas views Luna as a threat to Steffi, he might exploit her as a pawn in his campaign against Brooke, potentially drawing Grace Buckingham into his sphere, given that Grace's narrative appears unresolved and her connections to Paris and by extension Thomas could resurface at a critical moment when Ridge and Brooke are about to celebrate their reunion. This could transform what should be a joyous, champagne-filled celebration into a nightmare filled with betrayals, secrets, and the threat of violence. The most intriguing possibility is that Thomas might ultimately conclude that the only way to genuinely safeguard Taylor and put an end to Brooke's manipulative reign is to eliminate her permanently. Chilling thought that is so characteristic of him will instantly remind longtime fans of his previous fixation on Hope's mannequin, his fabricated CBS call, and his nearly lethal plots against Liam and Hope. These actions emphasize the reality that when Thomas loses control, he does not merely engage in arguments, he devises plans, stalks, and wreaks havoc. This time, his focus may be on Brooke Logan herself, placing Ridge in a dilemma between the woman he considers his fate and the son whose affection has always been intertwined with darkness. As Bradley Bell has noted, a compelling narrative can extend for 8 months or longer, suggesting that this revenge storyline could unfold over multiple seasons, impacting not just Ridge, Brooke, and Taylor, but also Paris, Grace, Carter, Hope, and even Bill. Each new revelation pulls additional characters into the turmoil, and by the time it culminates, the Forrester family may be irrevocably changed. Brooke may ultimately be compelled to confront the consequences of decades of transgressions, while Taylor emerges from her sorrow not as a victim, but as the matriarch whose children are prepared to fight and perhaps even kill for her.